this is the beginning of the primary best selling season or interviewing season of the year, from September through Thanksgiving. This is when we usually write the most amount of business for the year, especially in the month of October. October is almost always a 5-week month. And as a result, October and April are the 2 months that we do the most business. But October by far has been the strongest month of the year over the 30 some years I've been in the business. So now's the time. Now we've got some obstacles this year that come around every 4 years or so, but we'll talk about that on this. And then I want to hear from Claude. Claude's put together some information about using some of the other carriers in the life side as alternative solutions and for long-term care and the like. And I want to hear the latest he has to share, because I don't think there's anybody smarter in this business when it comes to life insurance than Claude. And we already know what a genius he is in long-term care. I want to have a little bit of a heart-to-heart to you. If it's just the four of us, again, you guys know what's going on, but I just wanted to make sure I clarified some things. So we'll go over that pretty quickly. Some news you can use, thanks to Abe. He sent me an article today from the Wall Street Journal. That's a great article, I think, to be sharing with your clients. Some observations from the field. An update on my health, just because I promised I would do that on this call. And embracing your new perspective. Again, with the turning of the calendar, it should bring a new perspective to how you're going to approach your practice. And I just talk to you about some tips along that line. And then finally, whatever questions you have, we will attempt to answer. All right. I know that these people wrote business over the last 2-3 weeks. I know there's some others out there as well, but I haven't received emails from them with the numbers. Scott just shared with me that he wrote $7,000 in premium. Some of that was extended care, but some of it was Medicare too. So Scott's gearing up and getting back. But the fact that he wrote multiple apps shows me Scott's alive and well and ready to come back and have a strong year. Abe has been nothing short of extraordinary in every which way this whole summer. Even though he went to the Olympics and went on a cruise around Europe, he still managed to write some significant cases, mainly through Back Nine and you, Claude, but still some huge cases that were written, and just incredible. And I know he wrote a case, or he's about to write a case, I don't know if it's written yet, for $300 and some thousand, One America single pay. He placed those 2 cases with Nationwide that totaled more than $700,000. One was a 10 pay, one was a 20 pay. But I mean, he's just been, for a guy who's semi-retired, he's the busiest semi-retired person I know.
Maybe I should be fully retired and increase the numbers.
Yeah, that's right. Probably the numbers would go up. And Walter, another voice I haven't heard from in a while, has wrote business over the last 3 weeks. I know Lori writes business every week. And again, I know that there's some others out there that have written. I just don't have their names or numbers yet. But I wanted to get a shout out to you guys for all that you've done in the dog days of summer to keep things going. Okay. There's the man, the legend. Claude has been a tremendous partner to us. And again, he's taken over all that space with the traditional carriers that we don't have contracts with, like NGL and Thrivent. And he's also taken over the spot for the hybrids that we don't have contracts with. And just in general, Claude is a tremendous resource to be able to go to. Claude, I'm going to turn it over to you. You want to share your screen, or you want to?
I will, but I'd comment first. Thrivent is really good company. They're very competitive in California and Florida, especially because they use the same pricing in all states, where some other carriers charge more in some of those states. But it can also be surprising in underwriting. Their underwriting guide is less detailed than the other carriers, which is disappointing at this point. But to give you an example, had a broker had a client who has COPD and is vaping smokeless cigarettes. Nobody would touch that. State Life had no interest, and Thrivent said they would consider it. So that policy is in underwriting and Thrivent.
And they'll also consider recreational marijuana too, as far as I've been told. So, they're
yeah,
liberal.
I think other companies will as well. But another case that an app is being taken today is on a school teacher who has a defibrillator in her that was installed, many years ago. She hasn't had problems with it. Again, Mutual and NGL and State Life, had no interest. The other, companies like Nationwide and such wouldn't be interested. But Thrivent said that lady could be issued, assuming that, everything they've told them is correct. So that's another app that's being taken today. So there's a huge benefit, as you all know, in having a regulatory.
It's good insight, Claude. I met with Anthony Bossenberg. Just so you know, I met with Anthony Bossenberg in August, and he tells me they're coming out with a much more detailed underwriting guide. So hopefully that's going to be changing here shortly. All right. So you want to take over control, or do I need to do something here for you to have control?
Are you not?
I'm seeing my slide.
My machine says I'm sharing.
Are you? Okay. Everybody's seeing.
Let me share.
Yeah, please do. I don't know if I have to stop sharing in order for you to share, but.
Okay, let's see now.
Oh, there we go. Hello, everybody else. Hello, Lori. We were talking about you. Now we can. Yes, I can see your slides. Take it away.
Okay, I'll make it a little larger. So I did it. When I was looking, I don't think there was anybody online from California, but if there's somebody from California, I have the California comparison as well as this outside of California comparison. Securian just got into California, so I wanted to see, we've got a lot of business at Back Nine in California. I wanted to see what the California picture looked like. But then I also did the same thing nationally, except on the national one, I don't have the State Life numbers yet because I didn't have access to their system for a little bit when I ran this. I can add the State Life numbers. They won't look, particularly competitive. So what I did here is I looked at Securian, Lincoln Financial, Nationwide, and Bright House. So this first case is a 55-year-old case we're working on, 55-year-old married lady. And so I did, these all have $6,000 a month. They all have 3% compounding. They all have 6-year benefit periods. They all have, a 90-day EP. Except for, Lincoln is 0, Nationwide is paid retroactively, etc. These are mostly female rates, but there's some male rates here too. So the first 4 columns are all 55, and they're all assuming a couple's discount because I added this because of a specific case I ran it for, non-smoker, and I did single pay and 10-year pay. Oh, and these have 5% compounding. Only these 2 columns have 5% compounding because this lady was concerned about a benefit at a certain age. So I wanted to see if the 5% compounding worked better. And what you can see here is, here at age 55, Lincoln has the lowest prices on the single pay, significantly lower, right? More than 9% lower than Nationwide. On the 10 pay, they're lower, but not by as much. And with 5% compounding, they're not as advantageous, but most people are going to buy the 3% compounding. And so you can see a significantly lower price with Lincoln Financial. If you look at age 60, this is a single female as opposed to a married female, you can see that the price is more than 10% lower with Lincoln Financial than with Nationwide. And Bright House is about the same price as Lincoln. Now, Lincoln has no elimination period, which is an advantage over Nationwide and over Bright House. Lincoln also allows half of the benefit to be used for as a cash benefit for the first 48 months. If you use half the benefit for 48 months, you've used up the death benefit. So for that portion, you can use it half the death benefit for 48 months as a cash benefit. So that reduces the advantage of Nationwide's cash benefit, not completely, of course. So you might like the Nationwide, but that's quite a bit extra to pay for having it completely cash instead of partially cash, and having a retroactive EP instead of zero EP. This is age 70. So what happened is Lincoln Financial in January came out with these prices, and what they really did is, like, I don't know if it's 55 to 70 or 69 or 50 to 69, but at a specific age range, they really repriced to be competitive, and they did it on the versions that have robust benefit increases. So if you look at a MoneyGuard with a 3-year benefit, it likely costs more than the 6-year benefit period with 3% compounding, because there are circumstances where it actually costs significantly more to get less coverage, because they only change the pricing in the areas that they thought they wanted to be most competitive in. This shows you single male, and you can see again, more than 10% or about 10%. They're about 10% less than Nationwide. Securion's not far from them. Bright House is even lower, but Bright House has a 90-day EP. Another advantage of Lincoln, by the way, is these all show that these are non-tobacco prices. For Lincoln, they are also the same price for tobacco users. So for tobacco users, every other company on this spreadsheet goes up except Lincoln, right? And so then, this again shows at age 70, where Lincoln was really trying to be more competitive through age 69. You can see at age 70, all of a sudden, at age 70, both for the females and for the males, Securian and Bright House are by far the lowest. So then here I did, this is what the couples discount for the 60-year-old. And I, showed what the couples discount was, couples discount for the male. Here I did here's where I did a smoker. And so you can see how, Nationwide's 143,000 and Lincoln's 112,000, right? Nobody else is below 127,000, and they're under less than 112. So you can see what a screaming good deal that is. And then here I did some 10 pays, and then here I did lifetime pay. So the only companies that will offer the lifetime pay of these companies are State Life, which I didn't calculate on the national one, and Nationwide. So if you need, a lifetime pay, Nationwide is clearly the best choice. But notice here, the lifetime pay is $11,023, and with Lincoln Financial, you can get a 10 pay for $13,768. If they can afford that extra, if they can squeeze out that extra money anywhere, paying $13,768 for 10 years is a lot better deal than paying $11,023, to age 100. And then over here, I didn't do the State Life yet, but in the California one, I've got the State Life. This is the joint in the joint care matters together, still that's the way to go. So, for your lifetime pay, for your care matters together, Nationwide's the way to go. For your single to 10-year pay, we've got products that are significantly more attractive at this time. It's a horse race. They keep jockeying around, but at this time we've got products that are significantly more competitive than Nationwide. I love the people at Nationwide. I was in communication with them yesterday, but right now Lincoln Financial and sometimes Securian, sometimes Bright House are a better solution for clients. Any questions, comments?
Yeah. Claude, of these four companies, and I know it varies by condition, which in general is the most liberal in underwriting?
One
So the
America.
most liberal in underwriting is the fifth one. It's the fifth one. It's State Life.
Yeah.
And of these four, excuse me, I don't have a lot of experience enough to be able to compare them, particularly with Bright House, which is pretty new. I've just started doing business with Bright House, but Bright House claims to be not as liberal as State Life, but more liberal than the other three. So that's a good question, good point. So that'd be certainly be a good situation to put a case with. To test the case with Bright House if there's underwriting issues.
That's true. What Claude just said. Bright House constantly is hungry for your business and claims to be more liberal, though nowhere close to what State Life is, and especially with their annuity care product. One America's annuity care product has 4 knockout questions, and you can answer no to those. You're getting the coverage. So. He worked closely with Keith Bergen.
Couple things on that.
Yeah.
So a couple things I want to mention, and I want to get to the annuities, but Abe's in New York, for example. I had a very interesting case that I'm working on right now. It's a lady here in Kansas who is in her 90s, and she wants to buy long-term care insurance for each of her kids that range in age from 57 to 70. And one of the kids is in New York, and we were looking at a variety of companies. And as you know, they either don't sell in New York or they sell a less of a product in New York. Well, all of the carriers told me when I investigated and pushed them on this, that if the policies are issued and owned by a trust in Kansas, we can issue the New York person a Kansas policy. So that really is a nice opportunity. Lincoln told me that the New York person would have to do the phone, or they can do the underwriting either by phone or computer. They would have to be on a computer or phone outside of New York, but the other companies did not have that requirement. And I figure if they end up, I don't think they're going to go with Lincoln, but if they were to end up going with Lincoln, I would see if I could get that changed if necessary. It might not be necessary. I don't know if she flies out here frequently or whatever. But anyway, so that's attractive. Another thing that's attractive, you were talking about the annuities. With Equitrust is
Claude,
yeah. Go ahead,
can
Sharon.
I interrupt? Sorry, can I interrupt? Can you just repeat what you just said? I don't think I got that. Repeat about the New
trust?
York and yes. So tell me that again.
So, NGL does not have a product in New York. State Life does not have a product in New York. Nationwide's product in New York doesn't have any compounding in the first 2 years that you go on claim. The New York products are quite limited. I contacted each of these carriers and I said, NGL is really tough on writing people outside of New York. I didn't think I was going to be successful for them. You have a second home outside of New York. If it's a vacation home, they won't write you. You're a New York resident. So I went to each of these companies and I said, there's a family-owned trust in Kansas. The trust is going to be the owner of the policy. The insured lives in New York, but the owner is in Kansas. And can we take a Kansas app on a Kansas policy? And every one of, Bright House, I asked Bright House, Nationwide, Lincoln Financial, and NGL. All four of those companies, they had to talk to their attorneys, et cetera, but all four of those companies came back to me and said, yes, you can issue that New York resident a Kansas policy on that basis. The only wrinkle was that Lincoln Financial said that any underwriting that's involved for the New York person has to be done out of state. So if she does, with Lincoln Financial, you do the underwriting either in a phone call or in an online interview. And it was kind of strange. They said for both the phone or the online interview, that New Yorker would have to be in Connecticut or New Jersey or in Kansas, somewhere outside of New York when she does her underwriting.
Did that
That
help,
answer your
Sharon?
question, Sharon?
Yeah, I missed the part about the trust. Okay.
So, so there can be a nice opportunity there where you set up a trust that you maybe weren't otherwise intending a trust, set up a trust and can get somebody a much better policy by setting it up through a trust. Now, in this particular case, I had 7 potential insureds. So I don't know if they would have, I can't say they would have necessarily answered the same if there was only one insured who was a New Yorker, but it's certainly some of the concepts are exactly the same there. So it's something that you could try and see and check with the carriers if you have that situation. Sharon, I think you helped give me some of the information on this Equitrust annuity. Mark was talking about the Equitrust, about the state life annuity. Equitrust has an annuity where there's guarantee issue. They have 3 underwriting classes, and the one that's the guarantee underwriting class, I looked at it, I wasn't so sure how attractive it would be for people. So I missed a point for a while, but the real point isn't so much that they have a guarantee issue class. The more exciting thing is that they do the underwriting on the phone. They give you a cognitive test and they ask you to do some physical exercises to demonstrate dexterity and maybe bone strength, muscle strength or something. And then they underwrite you based upon that. So there are people with HIV, there are people with a various issues that would get them declined anywhere else. And what's happening with Equitrust is it's not just that they get coverage, they can actually qualify in quite a few cases for the preferred rates. So there's a real tremendous opportunity with Equitrust. I don't know if you want to comment on that, Sharon. I think you had a little experience with that.
Yeah, it is kind of interesting. So what they do is not only do they do the cognitive, you have to be by a computer with a camera. And they look at you getting up from the chair and walking and doing whatever. It's a camera type interview, which I thought was real interesting, Claude. But yes, I was dealing with an HIV case, and this person, provided nothing else was wrong and they can answer the questions, would come in preferred on Equitrust even though they have HIV. Shocking.
That's a huge opportunity.
Yeah. Do you have something on the Equitrust stuff you can send me, Claude, so I can include it with this when I send out the recording on this call?
Yes,
which Equitrust
I
was
do.
that? Was that the bridge or which product was it?
Yeah, the bridge. Yeah, the bridge. We're talking about the bridge.
I have all the brochures.
Well, you send it to me, please, Sharon. And
Yes.
and I'll include it. Plus, it also, Claude, send me this Excel spreadsheet, and I'll include that too, in case anybody wants to see it. They'll be able to see it on the recording, but I want them to be able to physically have it in their hands. Just as a quick note, Nationwide and state life business comes through us direct, guys. You get the level commissions at the $80 million level that you're just not going to get anywhere else. And paid directly by Nationwide and state life. All the rest of the stuff goes through Claude. Claude's got the contracts with Securian and Lincoln and Bright House, and he's got contracts with all these other carriers that NAIS does not have. So it's just to be able to have Claude there to be able to shop your case through, so you can be made aware of some of these things that you might not know were available, is a great opportunity for you to bring to your clients, and an opportunity missed if you don't take advantage of it. So let me highly encourage you to do that.
Claude, can you help with a MoneyGuard illustration?
Sure.
I haven't
Yeah, I
looked
can
at your,
help with it.
I haven't looked
Okay.
at your tools for MoneyGuard. Can I do it myself on back nine?
So what you can do on back nine is if you go to other quoting options, there's a link to WinFlex Web. And you can do it on that's what I do, is I do it on WinFlex Web. So I could run
Okay.
it for you, but I can also show you, how you can get to WinFlex Web on Boss. It's easy to run on WinFlex Web, and I'm sure you'd rather do it yourself, because then you can
Yeah,
see it and you can just modify things, right immediately.
Perfect, thank you.
All right.
One other comment I want to make on Equitrust. I think if you apply and you're not sure, they will, like if you apply and you think you're getting preferred and it doesn't work, they'll just shift you to the guarantee. So you want to come in and apply and answer the questions just to see if you can get through as preferred. And if you can't, then they default to guarantee. Don't start with the guarantee.
Don't start with the guarantee.
Right.
Use the guarantee as your last resort.
Yes, because that's kind of what I was kind of looking at. I thought, oh, HIV, not going to go through. So I was on another webinar and some agent made a comment on that. Go in non-guarantee and see how it falls out.
Right. Interesting point.
So Sharon, do they not give you a definitive underwriting classification on the phone?
Yes. Yeah, I think they do. Yes. I think it depends, you
Yeah,
have to
so-
go
so
through that
basically-
picture thing. Yeah.
So you send in the application, and then how long after that do they do the phone call?
I don't, Claude, to be honest with you, I don't know the exact timing of it.
Well,
Okay, because I
Sharon
thought
brings up
maybe,
some good
I
points,
didn't know if you. Yeah, I didn't know if you had to send in the application before you did the underwriting. I wasn't sure I thought maybe you might be able to do the phone call and get the underwriting and then know what classification it is and then do the app. That's the way I
No,
think guaranteed life.
no, I think you send in the app first and then they go from there.
Okay.
All right. So thank you, Claude.
I've got a
Again,
case right now that we're likely going to go that direction. Okay.
if you can, send me that information.
I'll
I
send you guys some
appreciate it.
stuff.
Can you see your picture again, Claude? Are we
Yeah, I'm going to
seeing
stop
Claude's picture?
sharing.
Yeah.
Oh,
okay,
I think I'm
stop.
already stopped sharing. Yeah,
And
you got
I
it.
think I took
You've
it
got
back, right?
control.
You see your
Yep.
picture, right? Very good.
Yeah, we see it.
All right,
Yes.
great. All right.
Claude, how much was the investment
For
on
what?
that?
I'm sorry.
How much was the investment on that, like the 10 pay? How much did they put in?
On what case are you talking about?
For the long-term care plans that you were talking about, what was their premium?
You're talking about the bridge product that he was talking about, or you're talking about a different
Like
product?
were you working with like $100,000?
The illustrations I was showing you, I was showing you the premium for $6,000 a month. Usually, in almost all columns, it was $6,000 a month, 3% compounding, 6-year
Okay.
benefit period.
That's the benefit, but how much money
And
did
I
they
was
put up?
showing you.
How much money did they have to put up for that?
Well, I showed you single premiums and I showed you 10-year pay, and I was showing you, which company had the lowest single premium, which company had the lowest 10 pay.
Okay.
It was on the worksheet. He had the
It's on the
premium
work,
amount on the
and I'll
worksheet.
send that to you. Yeah.
Right.
Just keep in mind, the faster you
Yeah.
send any of the carriers money, the more benefit you'll get. If it's a single pay, you're going to get more benefit than if it's 10 pay. If it's 10 pay, you're going to get more benefit than if it's lifetime pay, and everything in between. All right. The quicker you give them use of your money, the more money you'll get back in benefits. Okay. Then thank you again, Claude. You're an invaluable resource. I don't know what we would do without you. Or much better because you're part of the team.
All right.
All right. The rest of this is
Well,
just
thank
going to
you.
be me. The rest of this is going to be me just having a conversation with you guys. It's not the normal format that we do for these calls, but I wanted to share as much of information as I could with you, because since it's been so long since we've actually spoke, and that probably has something to do with why there's a total of 8 people on this call, the lowest we've ever had. So that's something I want to discuss as well. But some insights first and foremost. Over the last 3 months of the summer, I've had a chance to reflect a lot on our business and what's good and what's not. I've also had the experience of working through the third and fourth quarter of a presidential election year. And I just wanted to bring to your attention some of the things you should expect as we go into this election year. By far, there is a drop off in leads and interest in discussing long-term care during presidential election years. Has always been the case in the states where they are contested. It doesn't happen across the country. It happens only in those states that are considered swing states. And that's because these presidential elections fill the airwaves and fill the phone calls and fill everything up with so much of their own messages that it's very, very difficult to cut through. So you have to be more creative. And the best way to do that, by the way, is to avoid the states that are considered swing states. I listed some of them here: Pennsylvania, Michigan, North Carolina, Arizona, Wisconsin, Georgia. There's some others as well that are considered in play. Avoid those states and concentrate on the states that are pretty much well decided, because they don't get anywhere near the kind of clutter that the states that are in play will receive as attention from the different campaigns. So, and that's not just the presidential level too, it's the Senate and the House and everything. Election years just tend to have a whole lot more noise in them than any other election period. So again, think about that and concentrate where the areas, where the fields are much wider and open, and you're much more likely to gain attention. And in doing so, you'll probably have a much easier time of it. We're moving into Medicare season for many of you, or most of you. This year in particular is the time to be using Medicare as the door opener for the conversations about the supplemental products, about the extended care products and long-term care solutions.
Thought that.
And I want you to think about that.
Diane calling you back from yesterday.
Oh, good. How are you?
Hey, Claude, mute
I'm
yourself
good. How are
if you
you?
would.
I'm fine.
Claude, mute yourself there if you would.
So you had
All right,
mentioned
I'll mute
the
you.
Gears Universal Life. Do I just need to put in another
Where is it?
request to have that
Where
submitted,
is it?
or
So when you, so I guess you already put in a request to
I'm trying to-
get pre-qualified with several companies. Is that correct?
yeah,
Hey,
for the
Claude?
term?
Okay. So
I'm
yeah,
I'm
so
trying,
at-
Sharon, I'm trying.
At the bottom of it, so you could just, I'm not sure if you can reopen it and change it, or if you,
There we go.
Okay.
There we go. Oh, yeah. Good to get back to that. Okay. Thank you, Claude, for sharing whatever it was you were sharing. Okay. We're seeing the slide again, I hope?
No,
No?
no.
Okay, thank you for telling me that. Let me get back to sharing the slide. This is what happens when we get interrupted. No wonder people don't come on anymore. Our Friday, our specialist meeting. Where is the share? See if this works. Let's share to send it all to you. Why is that not working? My apologies. Let me see if I can go over here, share. And here, and here. Now, you seeing it again?
Yes.
Thank you. Okay. Let me go to full slideshow here mode. Okay, so as I was sharing with you, again, we have a distinct advantage in that so many of you do Medicare that we should be using Medicare. I know you can't discuss other products with some of the Medicare programs at the same time that you're talking or discussing Medicare with them, but you should be setting up the opportunity to discuss additional product opportunities for the client when you're doing the Medicare and using it as a door opener for detailed conversation. If you're not using a fact finder, we've been working on one, but I think most of you have one available to you. I'm looking to be able to have a fact finder developed well before open enrollment season, so you can use it when doing your interviewing to uncover some of the other places you might be able to help your clients. All right. More than ever, it's very important that you stay in front of your prospects, your database. You could constantly need to be looking for things that you can blast out to them. You want them thinking of you when the time comes for them to do something. So whether it's a newsletter, whether it's articles, whether it's stuff from social networking, whatever it is, constantly on the look out to find opportunities to send things to your clients, not necessarily sales related things, just informative things to your clients so that you're front and center in their mind when a time comes for them to do something about their health benefits or their plan for how they're going to address their long-term care risk or some of the other products they could benefit from, right? And don't be afraid to get creative. You need to find new ways, different ways to bring attention to yourself. There's a slew of things out there that you can be doing that will set you apart. I'll share ideas, some specifics with you as over the next few weeks. But again, I don't know, hire a skywriter if you want, or use carrier pigeons. Anything you can do to set yourself apart from the way normal messages get through are going to be most effective in this time when everything for the next 60 some days are going to be, or 60 days, I think we're down to 60 days, during this election time are going to be so completely jammed with political messages. So take off your thinking caps and start getting creative. All right. Heart to heart time. Guys, all summer long, I've thought about this, and I'm talking to the usual suspects right now. So you people aren't guilty as this as much as some of the others that come on the call. Usually we have 25 to 30 people on these calls. And again, whenever I ask questions of you about why we're not doing certain this or that, the other, I get no response back. I see my job is to set up opportunities. So for you to decide which ones make sense to you and take advantage of. But there's a whole lot of opportunities that are coming and nobody's doing anything about them. Back in August 15th, in fact, was when we had the call, I gave you the opportunity to have Wellaby pay for you to have a communication with all of your clients, all of your prospects about not only their products, but just to be in front of them in general. And Wellaby would have done the whole thing for you. Nobody Nobody took advantage of that. I don't know. I'm beyond the ability to explain why. We had lead programs and I had leads available. Scott Fishkin and Walter Garr finally stood up and said, we'll take some of those leads. Lori Peary took those leads and she converted some of them. I mean, they were no cost leads. They were leads generated from a campaign. There was no split involved. Again, there was no clamor or hunger to take advantage of any of these plans. You need to have a plan for what you're going to do as you go into the prime selling season now. If you don't have a plan, don't expect that you're not going to get lost somewhere or get unfocused from what you're trying to accomplish, because this is the time. There is no better selling period than right now until Thanksgiving. And there will be some that would argue that the 3 weeks before Christmas are also a prime time. It's just simply because the competition drops off so much, right? But there's no excuse to be waiting. And I'm here to work with you. I'm here to share whatever my 35 years has taught me about this business to help you get to what you want to get to. I'm going to be doing a lot more personal production myself. So I'll be able to share with you firsthand knowledge of stuff that's going on out there. And there's a lot going on within amongst the carriers. I met with every one of the carriers over the last 30 days. And I have a better understanding of where they're coming from and where they're at and what they want to accomplish and how that could help you. So I'm more than open and willing to talk that over with you, to what extent you want to incorporate that into your plans, but it's up to you ultimately. I can show you where the opportunities are. I can share with you the different things we can do to help you expand on those opportunities, but ultimately it's up to you to seize on the moment and make something happen. Okay. So that's my heart to heart on that. Let me talk about a couple of other things, and then I want to get into something personal for a second. As I said with you, here's a perfect example. This is Thank You, Abe. This came from Abe this morning. This is an article that appeared in the September 4th edition of the Wall Street Journal and was called The Crushing Financial Burden of Getting Care at Home. And if you click on this, there's the article from the Wall Street Journal. Okay, this will be included with the recording link. So you can see through this. But again, it's the Wall Street Journal. It's credible. And it talks about how expensive it's become to get care at home. And that is a reality. And that's a big deal as it relates to people who are going through this or will be going through this. Having a solution in place has never been more important. You need to, they need someone like you to really figure out how to layer a plan so that it can truly address their needs when the time comes. Your role is more important than ever in helping people make these decisions. So here's an article. Thank you, Abe, for sharing. Again, I highly encourage you to utilize it and take advantage of it. Send it to your clients. All right. As observations from the field, I want to hear if any of you have had any observations over the last month. I will share again. I did meet with every carrier just about over the last 30 days, and found out where they're headed and what's going on. As far as what Claude had to share, by far the Care Matters Together product is now the product of choice in the hybrid space. They're doing more sales than just about anyone else. Obviously, because of the wirehouses, Lincoln MoneyGuard and OneAmerica still remain the two most popular products sold, not because they're better, just simply because they're well entrenched within the wirehouses to be the products of choice. Opportunities to partner with people from the wirehouses, especially with the market doing as well as it's doing, has never been better. These people that are basically managing assets and or selling stocks and bonds are not interested in doing long-term care as a rule. They want an expert so they can go to who can stay up with all the different changes that are coming, who can stay up with the CE credits that are required to be able to sell, who can stay on top of the different ways to use the products. You have a valuable resource to offer to people that are in the money management business. Don't be shy about offering yourself out there to get things done. Again, I don't know what perfume or cologne or whatever that Abe's wearing, but people are being attracted to him like nobody's business. Yeah, I know it's a mystery to me too, Abe, but they're all coming to you and finding you, and that's because he's planted the seeds over many years to establish himself as authority in this space, and people set him out. And most of you have done the same, but you need to expand on it and exploit it because it was an investment you made of time and effort, and you're deserving of that. Anybody else have any other observations from the field that you want to share? It's been so long since we've spoken. No? Quiet again? Little church mouses? Not this group, though. This
Mark?
group. Yeah, hi. Abe.
The only thing I would say is it's many, many, many years of networking that I'm not even networking anymore, where I've got these contacts and they're sending me their clients on occasion. So I'm not swinging the bat every day like I used to do, but since I have these referral sources, over many years, and I've helped them, that's why I think I'm getting these calls periodically. And what I've also said in the past to the group and others is, I tell these advisors, look, you don't have to call me if you think you might have a case, you want to refer a client to me. You're going to have a client walk into your office with a huge Genworth increase or Hancock or something, and that agent is not around. Have your clients call me. There's no charge for me trying to help them. So I give them a little value added. So like you said, you want to be a little different when you're speaking to advisors and building a relationship.
That's great. That's great information, Abe. Thank you for sharing. And I know some of you do the same thing. And that's the truth. You planted a lot of seeds, and it's now coming home to be sowed and reaped, and that's good. You need to do that. Your investment is paying you dividends, and you've earned it. Take full advantage of it. Not to use again Abe as a glaring example. Because as I said, Lori writes business every week, but the fact that Walter and Scott and some of the rest of you have stepped up to write business is very encouraging to me. That there's some activities going on out there. But Abe wrote over $700,000 in Nationwide Care Matters Together. That's a commission without sharing because you're all on the same commission level, but that's a commission of in excess of 50 grand, right? He also wrote a 300,000. I don't know. Did you decide if it was 300 or 350,000, Abe? The One America case. You went mute on me. Are you
I
muted?
said 350 and it's close to being finalized.
Good. Okay, so 350. It's not finalized yet, but again, you're talking another $25,000 probably in commissions. So. Again, that's 75,000 of earned commissions in the month of August, or I guess it'll be early September if he's still writing it. But the point is that there's substantial monies here, and again, with the market doing as well as it's doing, people's willingness to spend money, spread some of that wealth that they've earned in the markets around, has never been better. So again, take full advantage. If you're sitting on the sidelines, you're giving away home field advantage that you just don't want to squander. So take full advantage of that. Anybody else have any other observations from the field? Okay. Let me talk a second, a little bit about me personally, because I promised that I would do that. For those of you I saw in Frisco in July, you saw that I was wheelchair bound, and I promised to give you an update on my health. Well, yesterday was my day to finally get in. After 7 months of waiting, I got in to see UT Southwestern, which is the third highest ranked hospital in the country, and for neurological issues. And finally got to meet with someone who is one of the top 10 doctors in this space in our country, and got some definitive news. All right. Look, we're all dying. So I wish I could tell you it was just me, but at least the difference is that I have a timeline now for when that's going to be. It's not happening tomorrow. I've got, according to the doctors, 3 to 5 years. I don't know how much of that is quality life, but I suspect more of it is than we think. I plan to defy the odds anyway. But the illness I have, which is MSA, multiple system atrophy, is fatal. And as I said, life itself is fatal. So my attitude has always been, how do we make the best out of this? And I'm not going to sit around and cry my beer about it. And I'm not doing this or sharing this because I want sympathy, or I'm sharing it because I want you to all know that I have every intention of giving back as much as I can for as long as I can. So I was working during the summer months on putting together a couple of training programs around the 10 fundamental things you need to be successful as a long-term care solution specialist, and then the 10 advanced techniques you need to help you expand to be an elite member in the long-term care solution profession. I will plan to expose all of that or share all of that with you over the next several months. And I've picked up a few lessons. I've had an extraordinary life. I have no reason to complain. I don't have any, well, I have a few regrets, but you know, as the song says, not enough to mention. But my point to you is there's some life lessons there that I would feel remiss if I didn't share, if they could in any way benefit some others as well. So over the next several months, I plan to share all that with you to the extent that you have any interest in hearing about it. And again, someone's got to be an exception to the rule. I plan to be just that. So we'll you know, as they said at the end of Shawshank Redemption, you better get on with the business of living or get on with the business of dying. I am all about the business of living at the moment, and I want to share with you everything that I can that hopefully you can take and make a better life for yourself from. So I'm not being vain when I say that. I don't want the lessons I've learned to have to be repeated by you, when you can take advantage of the fact that I've been there and done that already, and you can hopefully pull something worthwhile for yourself from that process. All right. I will promise to keep you updated as time goes on. I've got at least a couple months before I see the doctors again because of changes in my medication regimen and some tests. I've been chosen to be part of a study, the first ever study on MSA. And again, we'll hold out hope that maybe we'll be able to discover something that will extend my life. But whatever happens, know that I am committed to helping you be the very best long-term care solution and extended care and senior supplemental specialist you can be. All right. Let's talk about what this means. It's September. Now's the time when you come out of the dog days of summer that you need to bring a new perspective. Believe me, going through what I just went through with life, and you know, hopefully that day won't come for you. Hopefully you'll live to be 125 and die in your sleep. But the point is that when you come across these types of events in your life, you gain a new perspective on things. Things mean a little bit or things are different and mean a little more, or you look at them from a different angle than you have in the past. This is a turning point. Now's the time to take inventory of yourself. You've had ups and downs. You've gotten to where you've gotten. Only you can answer whether or not you're happy with where you're at. And even if you are, so what? You need to keep pushing. You need to keep being all you can be. Your only competition is with yourself. You need to redefine what you're capable of and find out what those limits are, because frankly, it's probably unlimited. I don't think you really know what you're truly capable of until you continue to push yourself beyond some of the goals that you set for yourself, right? This is the most productive time of the year. This can be the most productive time of your entire career if you get yourself disciplined and focused, right? So you've got an undefined, unlimited potential. Now's the time to take stock and ask yourself, okay, what am I going to do from here to make the most of it? Maybe you've seen some of these Olympic ads that have been running where you always see these young people and they see an athlete, an Olympic athlete, either in a store or at a garden or something. I see them, and they say, and the two younger people are saying, I wonder how she did that, or I wonder how he did that, how he won that gold, what he did. And basically the message is the same every time. I made a plan, I executed the plan, and it happened exactly as I planned it, as I visualized it. That's the other thing. All these athletes do the same thing. They visualize everything they do before they do it. If you're not doing that with the interviews you're giving, with how you're approaching your practice, you're giving away an advantage. Don't do that. Get into the habit of writing down the plan for how you're going to approach the balance of this year, visualizing how you're going to execute it, and go about doing it. Abe was there firsthand at the Olympics. He saw it happen and how those plans became reality. And take the lesson of that away with you, because that will reward you for the rest of your life. All right. These messages are just something, I get these things called direct motivation. And so, again, I take some information from them to share with you when I think they're particularly appropriate. It's impossible to stay motivated all the time, but it takes discipline to do it and do it right. And I highly suggest that even if you haven't been disciplined the rest of this, in this year up till now, now's the time to get serious about it. Look for ways to surround yourself with affirmations and motivations to start each day. One of the things that's happened to me during this summer and dealing with my health issues has been I've become a much better meditator, if you will. I wasn't big into meditation before, but I have become now, and a much better breather. I do a lot of breathing exercises, and it makes a big difference. We all have heard about it or been exposed to them before, but get back to it. If you've gotten away from it, get back to it. Get back to taking the time to position yourself and gaining the perspective necessary for you to be the best that you can be. Here's a motivation, for example, for the day is the affirmation for the week that I said, you've reached the turning point. Your journey till now is filled with ups and downs, but you've made it. The wheels are turning in your favor. You're heading towards one of you fill in the line. My best career, most productive times in my career, my vote, whatever it is that motivates you, you fill in the line. Make this personal to you. You own it. So I'm giving this to you as a way to say, all right, this is what I want to really get focused on. I'm going to take the time to spend on, take an hour to spend on exactly how I'm going to plan and execute what I'm going to do to achieve the things I want to get done. Here's a quote from the day that I got just this morning. Hesitation is the kiss of death. You might hesitate for a moment, but don't let it turn into a habit. Again, go forth into the breach. You might not know what's going to happen, but don't let that stop you. It's better to try and have setbacks and learn from them than to not try at all. hesitation, I've seen kill so many things that never even get off the ground because they didn't get started. Instead, take the attitude that you're going to embrace these challenges and see what happens. You got nothing to lose. All right. So that's part of what I wanted to share with you. Now's the time to seize the moment. There's not going to be a call tomorrow. I'm not sure exactly what we're going to do. I'm going to try to talk with some of you over the next few weeks and find out. I'm not sure exactly where your heads are at. I just don't want to continue to go forward as though everything is rainbows and daffodils. I want to get a realistic approach about what can we meaningfully do to help you be better in this business. But your interviewer field underwriters, make the most of that. Go out and don't look to go out and sell people anything. Go out and help people by interviewing them and finding them the best solutions that they simply aren't going to get from just about anybody else. So I want to encourage you that now's the time to take the plunge. All right. Anybody have any questions on anything? Quiet. Nobody. Nothing. Okay. No call tomorrow. We'll talk about it next week as to whether or not we'll get back to Saturday calls. I'm not sure how valuable you were finding them to be. But I'm here. We will go back to a regular schedule of Friday webinars. So you can expect one every Friday unless informed differently. We'll together get through all of what lies ahead of us to be able to make the very most of it. All right. So if nobody has any questions, I'm going to wish you all the best and good luck. Thank you. And thanks for being here.
All right.
Thanks, Mark.
Talk to you soon.
Yeah.
Take care.
Bye.
All right. Bye-bye.